I step into the family gathering, my shoes clicking softly against the polished hardwood floor, excitement trembling in my chest, but wrapped tightly in a mask of calm. The knot of anxiety twists deeper as I cross the threshold, the warm chatter of relatives washing over me like a tide I cannot control. Eyes meet mine, cousins' eyes, and I feel it immediately. Smirks, whispers slicing through the room like sharp knives. Their laughter feels orchestrated, aimed, precise, and my stomach knots tighter. Every word, every glance carries the invisible weight of judgment. Then comes the announcement, the moment everyone had been waiting for. A major family decision meant to honor someone. My heart leaps for a fraction of a second before the cold truth lands like ice water. I am only the backup choice, not the first, not the priority, just a placeholder. I glance at Aunt Linda. Her face flickers with a quiet disappointment, a controlled line pressed against her lips, as if she's trying not to show what she truly feels. My chest tightens. Her eyes meet mine for a moment, and I see the flicker of shared humiliation before she turns away. And then my name is called. Second, almost an afterthought. Laughter ripples through the room. Some relatives glance at me with amusement, others barely hide their smirks. The sound of plates clattering in the background feels amplified, a cruel percussion underscoring my shame. Heat rushes to my ears. I can feel it, a burning, suffocating wave of embarrassment. I catch a glimpse of my parents, subtle but undeniable, the way their eyes avoid mine, the slight twitch of regret or disappointment. And suddenly, decades of memory hit me in a brutal montage. Childhood nicknames whispered behind my back, invitations I never received, subtle mockery masquerading as jokes. Every slight, every exclusion, every unspoken, "you're not enough," echoes through me. My gaze finds Diane, my cousin, standing with a sly grin, leaning into her phone camera as she records the moment, already knowing this will circulate like fuel for her ego. I taste bile in my mouth. And then the final, unbearable jab. Someone jokes, loud enough for the room to erupt. Well, at least she's the backup, right? Laughter fills the air, sharp and mocking. I smile on the surface, nod politely, laugh quietly. But inside, a storm rages. My chest tightens. Anger and betrayal mix with humiliation in a toxic swirl, and I feel the first pulse of a deeper resolve forming. The air is thick with perfume, the chatter and laughter bouncing off the walls, silverware clinking, each sound a dagger in my ears. My heart pounds that I can't stay here, not now, not like this. I slip quietly from the room, unnoticed by most, my steps deliberate. My mind races, replaying every insult, every slight, every childhood memory of exclusion. Every wound is fresh, every injustice cataloged, and somewhere deep inside, I feel it, the seed of a plan, a storm waiting to rise. Memories hit me like a sudden storm. I see Aunt Linda as she always was, quiet, reserved, slipping through family gatherings like a shadow. She smiles through the dismissals, the subtle put-downs, the jokes at her expense, never giving anyone the satisfaction of seeing her hurt. Her strength was invisible, but it was there, woven into every careful step she took in a world that constantly overlooked her. And then there's Diane. Her smirks, so effortless, so practiced, have haunted me for years. Small victories, winning school competitions with a sly glance my way, leaving Aunt Linda in the background, posting photos and captions online that reminded us who truly mattered. Every holiday, every social gathering, every shared moment seemed to echo Diane's triumphs, designed to shame, designed to humiliate. Grandpa's favoritism cut deeper than any cousin's cruelty. Those subtle glances, whispered criticisms, constant comparisons, always ranking Aunt Linda, always placing her second, always reminding her of her place. The message was clear: she was never enough. Teenage years were a minefield of public embarrassment. Birthdays, school events, family dinners, moments meant for joy became opportunities for whispered, not good enough comments, snide jokes veiled as concern. I remember her standing there, chin lifted, heart breaking silently, swallowing every insult with a grace that seemed impossible. And yet, Aunt Linda cultivated a silent strength. Late night walks through empty streets, journaling every thought, every dream, every tiny victory no one would ever see. Her victories were secret, small, but they built a reservoir of resilience. Betrayal came from unexpected places, too. Friends she trusted sided with the popular cousins, laughing along, validating the cruelty. Each stab of betrayal etched deeper scars, layering on the wounds of being second choice, afterthought, backup plan. The emotional weight of decades pressed on her shoulders, invisible to those who never looked closely. But she learned. Quiet self-training, mental sharpening, patience that was almost painful in its intensity. She observed patterns, read intent, cataloged every slight, every jab, every snicker. She learned to watch, to wait, to prepare. Evidence of the cousins' manipulations, their arrogance, their reckless confidence, she collected silently, methodically. And all the while, the quiet rage simmered. Not loud, not reckless, patient, controlled, biding its time. She waited for the perfect moment, the moment that would turn all the humiliation, all the erasure, into something tangible, undeniable, unforgettable. As I sit with these memories, I realize today's humiliation wasn't isolated. It was a continuation of decades of erasure, of being invisible in plain sight. But Aunt Linda wasn't invisible anymore. She never had been. She was waiting, and when the time came, she would ensure that the world remembered exactly who she was. I began small, so small that no one noticed. At family dinners, I asked gentle questions that sounded innocent, but nudged doubt into the room. Are we sure that's the best choice? Did anyone double-check that detail? My tone stayed light, my smile polite, but every question planted a seed. I watched them take root quietly. Financial decisions became my silent battlefield. Inheritances, budgets, public acknowledgments, tiny shifts, tiny redirections, nothing drastic, nothing anyone could accuse me of. But little by little, I bent the current. I saw the ripple effects before anyone else did. Diane sensed something, not enough to worry, just enough to narrow her eyes for a second longer than usual. She watched me, but she dismissed me. She's harmless, she told someone once, right within earshot. I let her believe it. My friends noticed before the family did. You seem different, they said. Calmer, more confident. I answered with vague smiles, brushing it off, protecting the quiet fire building inside me. At night, while the house slept, I spread my notes across the table. Names, dates, family events, public gatherings. I traced patterns with my fingertips. Every weak spot in their prideful facade illuminated under the lamp's dim light. Every vulnerability became a part of the larger map. And Aunt Linda, she began changing too, slowly, quietly. At family gatherings, she started speaking just a bit more firmly, offering opinions without apologizing. Small victories, a corrected detail here, a confident suggestion there, went unnoticed by most. But I saw them. Each one was a step toward reclaiming the dignity they had stolen from her. The cousin's smugness grew louder, more careless, and every smirk fueled my patience. I watched them with a calm expression, storing every insult, every arrogant assumption, letting it shape the precision of what I would do next. At public social events, I felt almost serene. I smiled, I mingled, I complimented, and beneath it all, I slipped hints into conversations. Indirect, subtle, perfectly timed hints that exposed cracks in the cousin's polished image. People listened, people remembered. Inside my own head, every word I spoke went through a silent filter. Does it add to the plan? Does it move the needle? Will it matter later? The internal dialogue sharpened me like a blade. Small victories accumulated. A financial decision swayed in my favor because of a question I asked at the right moment. Diane boasted about an achievement, and I gently revealed a detail that contradicted her story, politely, softly, watching her smile falter for the first time. Every night, I wrote everything down, every reaction, every slip, every shift in the family's tone. Journaling became my ritual. Each entry tightened the strategy, clarified the end game. By the time I closed my notebook each night, I knew the escalation wasn't chaos, it was control. Mine. It was late when the phone rang, the kind of unexpected sound that makes the heart jump. I answered, and on the other end, a voice I hadn't heard in years, my distant uncle, spoke with quiet admiration. "I've always respected Linda," he said. "She deserves better than what they've given her." His words carried weight, a confirmation I hadn't known I needed. The revelation hit like lightning. The backup choice wasn't a mistake. It was orchestrated. Diane and her clique had plotted this humiliation, carefully, publicly, and deliberately. Every laugh, every whisper, every smirk had been part of a plan designed to make Aunt Linda feel small, to make her feel invisible. And yet, in that moment, I discovered leverage I hadn't seen before. Legal documents, financial details, subtle mismanagement that no one noticed. They were pieces Aunt Linda could now use to assert control, a shift in power that had been hidden in plain sight. Suddenly, clarity flooded through me. Every humiliation, every overlooked moment, every second-place label, it wasn't a weakness, it was a tool. Being the backup choice meant no one watched closely, no one suspected, and that invisibility became an advantage. The first confrontation came quietly. Diane attempted a jab, a sly remark, expecting resistance or submission. She misread my calm, my composed silence, assuming I was powerless. I let her underestimate me. Every slight, every arrogance she displayed only sharpened my edge. Aunt Linda began to quietly gather allies, speaking with family members who respected her intelligence and patience, building invisible alliances. These meetings were subtle, almost imperceptible, yet each conversation planted a seed of support that would bloom at the perfect moment. Tears came not of weakness, but of rage. Rage transformed into controlled resolve. The emotional release was cleansing, and when I wiped them away, I saw with absolute clarity the path ahead. Planning intensified. Every family gathering, every public appearance, every casual conversation was mapped in meticulous detail. I studied each potential slip, each opportunity for revelation, each chance to turn their arrogance against them. In the quiet of my room, I whispered to myself, almost like a vow. They thought I was weak. They gave me patience. I'll give them reckoning. The words felt like armor, a mantra forging determination into strategy. The night before execution, I reviewed every detail, every insult they'd thrown, every public slight, every opportunity to expose their arrogance. Each moment was cataloged, analyzed, and prepared for maximum impact. The storm had formed, and by dawn, it would break with precision. The day had come. The family gathering buzzed with its usual chatter, but this time everything felt different. Aunt Linda entered the room, calm and radiant, her confidence emanating from every step she took. Heads turned, whispers paused, and even the air seemed to shift around her. She wasn't just present, she owned the space without a word. Diane, sensing a chance to assert herself, launched a subtle insult, a practiced jab meant to undermine. But Aunt Linda met it with quiet precision. Facts, details, reminders of past lies, all delivered calmly, deliberately. The smirk on Diane's face faltered. The room leaned in, sensing the subtle reversal of power. Months of careful preparation unfolded in real time. Evidence of financial mismanagement, public missteps, and minor betrayals emerged seamlessly, each piece woven into conversation, each revelation landing with invisible impact. No one could deny the meticulous documentation, the quiet intelligence behind every disclosure. The cousins scrambled, attempting to regain composure, tossing forced smiles and nervous laughter, but Aunt Linda remained unshaken. Every gesture, every glance commanded attention effortlessly. She was the eye of the storm, serene while chaos surrounded her. Allies she had nurtured subtly over time supported her in the open. Nods, quiet acknowledgments, and discreet smiles reinforced her credibility, tipping the room toward her favor without overt spectacle. Then came the moment no one expected. Aunt Linda was officially chosen for the role everyone thought she had lost. The room froze. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the gathered family. Diane's reaction was immediate, stunned silence, an attempt to laugh it off that fell flat, trembling hands, betraying the panic behind her eyes. Aunt Linda's closing move was masterful. She exercised unexpected generosity, grace under fire, while simultaneously asserting complete authority. Her words carried weight, her tone even and unwavering. The balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Applause erupted, not just polite, but genuine. Some family members raised their phones to record, ensuring this moment would live as proof of her victory. The acknowledgement was undeniable, the social validation complete. In the midst of it all, I watched her, internalizing every reaction. Satisfaction surged, a deep sense of empowerment washing over me. Justice, long delayed, had finally been realized. The humiliation, the patience, the careful planning, it had all led to this moment of undeniable triumph. The house was quiet, the chatter of the gathering long gone. Aunt Linda sat alone in her study, the soft lamplight casting shadows across the walls, reflecting the journey she had endured. She traced her fingers over the journals, the recordings, the hidden documentation she had carefully compiled, proof of patience, of strategy, of unyielding resolve. Estranged family members who had witnessed the truth now approached with quiet respect. Conversations that once carried tension and judgment shifted into acknowledgement and admiration. Diane, for her part, avoided eye contact, her posture betraying subtle recognition of defeat without a single word of confrontation. Aunt Linda's review of the meticulous records brought both satisfaction and perspective. Financial positioning, social influence, the quiet authority she had earned, these were now undeniable within the family structure. Each detail was a testament to the months, the years of careful preparation, of measured patience. Tears came unbidden, a mix of relief and release. The long-suppressed rage that had fueled her rise now dissipated, replaced by a calm, steady sense of closure. She allowed herself to breathe, to feel, and to finally embrace the weight of triumph. Relationships were rebuilt selectively. Loyalty, respect, and shared values became the criteria, replacing the arbitrary favoritism and old rivalries. Aunt Linda walked through the empty halls at night, the echoes of past humiliations now powerless against her presence, each step a reminder of the distance she had traveled. Personal transformation settled in quietly. Strength without bitterness, confidence without arrogance, awareness sharpened by experience. And in her mind, the truth crystallized. Being the backup choice had never been weakness. It had been a vantage point, a secret position that allowed her to watch, to wait, and to claim ultimate victory. As the night deepened, she closed her eyes, knowing she had turned every slight, every dismissal into power. The family had underestimated her, and in their misjudgment, she had found her greatest advantage. I faced the camera, the dim golden light spilling across the room, my voice calm but resonant, carrying every ounce of the journey behind me. I began to recount it all, the initial humiliation, the whispered jokes, the sly smirks, the moments that felt like nothing but were seeds of something greater. I speak of the silent planning, the late nights, the meticulous patience, and the ultimate triumph that no one saw coming. Being underestimated is never weakness. It is potential, waiting to be wielded. I let the camera linger on my expression as flashes of memory cut in. Diane's smugness, the quiet scribbles in my journal, the subtle victories I had cultivated, and the moment of undeniable power when the family finally recognized the truth. Lessons emerge between breaths: preparation, courage, emotional intelligence, and the art of strategy. Every word is a reminder that patience can be sharper than anger, and observation can outmaneuver arrogance. I turn slightly, addressing the audience directly. Don't let anyone define your worth. Your patience, your quiet strength, your integrity, they can be your ultimate weapons. I pause, letting the weight of it settle. Subtle empowerment, self-awareness, turning small injustices into stepping stones. This is the message I leave behind. The montage begins. Smiles shared quietly, nods of respect, subtle acknowledgments of justice finally served. The camera captures the family's renewed respect, the hushed recognition that power is no longer misjudged, that patience has triumphed over cruelty. Dear, and as the lens focuses back on me, I offer the final reflection. Life is cyclical, and those who underestimated you will always remember. The scene fades out slowly. Ambient sounds of quiet applause, distant laughter, and serene music linger, leaving a sense of resolution, empowerment, and emotional resonance that will echo far beyond this moment.